welcome to today's tutorial on SwiftUI. Today we will be going over SwiftUI essentials on how to create and combine views using SwiftUI. This is the project that we are going to create. It's basically an application that shows a landmark, Turtle Rock, which is a national park in California, and we will go into XCode to go over what we need to visually create this application, how it looks like, exactly how it looks like using SwiftUI. Okay, so let's start off by going to Xcode and going to File. We're going to create a new project. Select Single View Application, click Next, and make sure you have SwiftUI selected. So we're going to call it Landmark. Click Next, Create, and here we are. So we have our view, content view, and our body is where we want to manage what views we want to display in our application. So if we hit zoom, we can see that through our preview we can see the view of hello world text, and if we were to modify that, it's changing as we type. Okay, so for our project, we want to have Turtle Rock. So we're going to type Turtle Rock into our text view. Okay, and we want to modify the font to title. And one way of doing it is by holding the command key, selecting text, going into inspect, and going into the font section and selecting the one we want, which is title. And as you can see, it's automatically updated. If we go to our project, we can see that we want Joshua Tree National Park under it. So if we want to use multiple views, if we wanted to add like a text to the bottom, and we just added a text view under it, Xcode would complain because we can only have one view at a time unless we stack them. So a way of fixing this is by selecting both of them, holding the command key and selecting, and embedding them in a vertical stack. So now we have Turtle Rock, and we need Joshua Tree National Park. So all we have to do is modify the text, Joshua Tree National Park. And we don't want title, we want the font called sub headline. Okay, so far so good. Now what we want is California. So we're going to do the same thing, but instead of embedding the views in a vertical stack, we are going to embed Joshua Tree National Park to a horizontal stack, so California can be right next to it. And we're going to do that by holding Command, selecting text, embedding it into a horizontal stack, and adding a text view. Another way of adding a text view instead of typing is that we can simply click on the plus button on the top right, scrolling down to the text view and dragging it into where we want it. Okay, so we're gonna type California, location of our landmark, and we're gonna hit Command, click, inspect, change the font to sub headline, and see it automatically updated. So what we want is for our text to be spread all the way onto the edges of our screen. And the way of doing this is by using spacer, which basically adds space in between both texts and spreads them out to the edge of the screen. Okay, so we want Turtle Rock to be aligned to the left of the screen. So a way of doing it is by modifying the alignment and making it into leading. So the easy way of doing it is by holding Command key in VStack, clicking, going to inspect, and changing the alignment into leading. Okay, if we want it on the right side, we go trailing. We'll go to the right, but since we want it on the left, we're gonna go with leading. And as you can see, it's automatically added into our code without us having to type it. So if we go to our simulator, you can see that it's more or less looking like what we want, except that we want a little bit of padding to not make it look so clustered. So in order to do that, we have to add padding to our stack, and a way of doing that is by modifying the padding or adding padding into it. And what this does is, as you can see, is it just makes it not look too tight. Perfect. So far we have that down. Now we're going to go on into our picture image, and how we're going to start off is by going to our assets folder. Okay, I'm gonna go into downloads folder, go to resources, go to Turtle Rock. I'm gonna drag that image into that project. Okay. So we have Turtle Rock, that's the name of our image. What we can do is we can copy that to use in a bit. Okay. I'm gonna go into File, I'm gonna create a new file. It's gonna be a SwiftUI view. Okay. I'm gonna call my view circle image. And we're gonna hit resume so we can see what we're doing. Okay, we have the hello world. We're gonna remove this text and we're gonna go into our top right plus sign. We're gonna look for image. We're gonna drag it into our body, and instead of using image name, we're gonna paste the name of our image, which in our case is Turtle Rock. And if we go into our simulator, you can see that we want a rounded image. So a way of doing that is by clipping that image, and we can do that by typing clip shape and choosing this shape that we want. In this case, this will be a circle, and voila, we have a circle shape. Okay, now if we go back to our simulator, we can see that it has like an overlay on top of it. So you can simply type overlay, and we have to describe what shape we want. So we can use the same circle. This is going to cover the whole image, but if we just add like a stroke, it will give us like that edge that we want. That outline. So you can specify what color we want. For example, we can go with green. Then we can go with the exact line width, and we will make it 4. And in our project, you can see like there's a little shadow behind it. So we can do top shadow, and we can do 10. And we can see that shadow automatically update. So since we have that shadow in the background, and we want this to be white, as you can see, we can change it back to white, or change it to white. And now with our shadow, we can see the white outline. Okay, so far we have Turtle Rock, we have the image. Now we need the actual map. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create new, go to File, select SwiftUI view, go type map view, create, and what we want is to import MapKit. Yeah, MapKit. We want to conform to the UI view representable protocol, and we don't need body anymore. Okay, so it's going to give us an error that it needs some requirements from the protocol. So one of them is make UI view. Okay, this is the one. We want to keep that or type out as a context. Okay. So here we are gonna return MK map view. Okay. So we're gonna return MapKit map view with the frame of 0. Okay. So that's our first requirement. Now we're gonna go to our second requirement, which is to update the UI view. Automatically uses the MK map view. You can keep that or use context. And here is where we have to specify what regions we want to set into our view. So what we need for that is to get the coordinates for landmark, which is Turtle Rock, and for that we will use the CL location coordinate and specify the appropriate latitude, which will be 34.011.286, and the longitude will be -116.166.868. We need the span of what we want to view in our map. That will be the coordinate MK. That span equals MK coordinate span, the width, yeah. And for that we need the latitude, which will be 2.0, and the delta longitude will be 2.0. Okay. So now we need to get the region. With that, we use MK coordinate region, rectangular geographic region centered around a specific latitude line. Okay. For that, we need to use the center and the span. And for the center, we're going to use our coordinate. And we're going to use the span for the span. Okay. So that's all we need. Now we need to update the view, UI view. And set the region to the region and animate it. Okay. So now if we click resume, we can see our map displayed But if we want to actually see this information, we can simply go down to this button, the live button, live preview button. We select it, and we can see it update. Okay, so we go to our simulator. We have the map, we have the image, and we have the text. So to combine all of them, we're going to go back to our content view, and we're going to embed this vertical stack into another vertical stack. Okay, since we want to add those views on top of this, we did this. Okay, perfect. So we're going to start off by adding circle image view on top of our text view. Perfect. Okay, it's there, and we're gonna add the map view on top of our image, and there we go. Perfect. So in order to reduce the size of the map, we're gonna update the frame, and we're gonna only specify the height. We're gonna set it to 300. That's gonna reduce the height. And for circle image, you notice in our simulator that we want to merge it into our map and raise it up. We have to change its y-axis coordinates. So a way of doing that would be by going to our circle image and modifying its offset, selecting the y-axis and setting it to negative 130. So this is gonna push it up. And if you can tell in the simulator, we have our text on the bottom under our image. So we have to reduce this padding from our image by selecting the padding and doing the same thing, specifying what padding and reducing it to that amount. Okay, 130. Perfect. So we go to our simulator. You can see that so far we have an application that more or less looks like the end goal that we want. Okay, so if we go back to our live button, you can see the map get updated. So that helps us see it, how similar it looks to our end goal a little bit more. But in our end goal application, you can see that it's spread out more. So to fix that, we're gonna go to our vertical stack. And we're gonna stop this so you can see on the right side where it highlights. So this vertical stack As you can see, it highlighted. We want to do something similar to what we did in this horizontal stack. If you remember that we wanted to spread it out to the edge of our iPhone screen, well, we want to do the same to this vertical stack. And a way of doing this is by specifying spacing. Oh. Okay. Specifying spacing for it. Oh, okay. It's not called spacing. It's called spacer. Okay, there we go. So, as you can see, the image is stretched across the vertical stack. And now what we want is, we hit play and open up the simulator. What we want is to remove this, well, to stretch out the map farther away from the top constraint of the safe area. So the way of doing this is by going into our map and selecting edges, ignoring safe area, and we have to specify which edge, and it will be top edge. Okay, so what this does, it's gonna stretch past the safe area, and the end result will look like what we want it in the beginning. So this completes our tutorial on creating and combining views using SwiftUI. Hopefully it helped a little bit, and stay tuned for our next episode on SwiftUI. Thank you.